Okay, this is, as I said before, this is the Town of Underhill Development Review Board hearing. It's Monday, November 20th. And we're here tonight to review the preliminary plat application submitted by John Butler for a proposed 3-lot subdivision located on 621 Iris Summer Road. Subject property is in the rural residential zoning district with a portion located in the north corner that is situated in the Soil and Water Conservation District. The Development Review Board conducted a site visit at the property's location on Saturday, November 18th at 8:30 a.m. And tonight's hearing is at the Underhill Town Hall. Additional information, including submittals and instructions for accessing the electronic component of this hearing, is available at the town's webpage. This application is subject to review under the Unified Land Use and Development Regulations as amended in the Town of Underhill, as well as the proposed amendments, or as well as the road, driveway, and trail ordinance as amended. We did not see this as a sketch plan, but we did see this project previously as a property line adjustment. So we didn't really skip a step, but we.
I think you saw it as a subdivision with a boundary line adjustment. Yeah. But since the ruling was just to proceed with the boundary line adjustment, yeah. Now we're back at square one again.
Yeah. Okay. So the board reviews the documentation submitted with the application, reviews how it conforms with the municipal plan, these regulations, and other municipal ordinances in effect at the time of this application. And we're also here to identify any particular issues or concerns associated with the proposed subdivision, recommend any modifications necessary to achieve conformance, and to identify any additional information prior to this final subdivision plans, engineering plans, and legal documents for the subdivision and related site improvements are finalized. Should additional information be required, the board reserves the option to continue with the hearing to a date and time certain for that information to be submitted and reviewed by the board. Copies of the rules and procedures are available for review at the front counter and can be obtained from the Planning and Zoning Administrator, Acting Planning and Zoning Administrator, and are on the town website as well. The order of speakers we'll hear tonight: first, we'll hear and ask questions of the applicant or its representatives. We'll hear and ask questions of the Planning and Zoning Administrator. We'll give other folks in the room a chance to speak. Under our rules of procedure, each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. However, that time can be extended upon request and majority consent for the board. Because we have remote participants, we'll first do the people in the room and then we'll handle the remote. So we won't forget about folks participating remotely. After we've gone through everyone, the applicants or the representatives will have an opportunity to respond, and then final comments to be solicited from all parties. All speakers should address their comments to the board, not to other parties present in the hearing. Board members may feel free to ask questions of any speaker. There are no state or municipal representatives present in the hearing, acting in their municipal representative capacity other than our interim planning and zoning administrator, Brad Holden, who is also the town administrator. All right. An interested party information sheet is available to all attendees at the front counter or front Brad. Please review it if you want further information on it. Then only those interested persons who have participated either orally or through written statements in a DRB proceeding may appeal a decision rendered in that proceeding to the Environmental Division of Superior Court. If you're an applicant, a representative of the applicant, or an interested party who wishes to participate in the hearing, we'll ask you to come to the witness chair. You guys can stay where you are. And we want you to clearly state your name, address, and residential mailing address if it's different than your physical address. What I'd like to do right now is swear in all those present who wish to speak tonight. All individuals who plan to testify must take the following oath by responding "I do" at the end. And the oath is this: do you hereby swear that under the evidence you give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury? You guys would say I did. All right. Are there any conflicts of interest, or have there been any ex parte communications on part of board members?
No.
No. Let the record show there's no ex parte communication on the part of the board members. At this point in time, I'm going to enter into hearing the evidence that was submitted in support of this application. Brad, I think we've got like exhibits A through.
Yeah, I've got it through A through H.
Yeah.
I can list them off if you'd like.
No, we'll just list them. In. Sometimes takes so long. But
okay. They're just basically agenda, application, a brief summary submitted as supplement to the application, certificate of service, the growth of free press, the preliminary plat, an old plat of records, A&R soils, and E911 viewer for parcel addresses.
So all these exhibits can be found on the planning and zoning file or at the hearing packet that's listed on the town website. So Tristan, what we do next is we just ask.
You want to go around the room for Donna so she knows exactly who's here?
Who's here?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, sure.
The transcription.
So my name's Charlie Van Winkle. I'm the chair of the Development Review Board. To my right is board member Meg Armstrong. Sorry, to my left is board member Meg Armstrong. The appearance tonight, Karen McKnight, board member, Matt Chapik, board member, Mark Green, board member, Brian Birch, board member, and Shani Bartlett, board member. 3 applicants present are John Butler, Tristan Butler, and Will Butler. All right, and Brad Holden is here as the acting zoning and planning administrator. Good enough?
Sounds good.
We have one person participating remote. Well, we'll get to that. So what we do now is we just need a summary for the record what you guys want to do. All right, 3 lot subdivision.
Yeah, John Butler is looking to do a 3-lot subdivision of his total parcel. Within the parcel, there's a currently described 10-acre piece that we want to extend and to create lot 2. And then lot 1 and 3 are shown on the map for the other 2 parcels. That's what we're requesting.
Pretty simple. No infrastructure improvements such as water supply, wastewater disposal, driveway cuts, nothing like that. So
Here.
Yeah, so we're looking at 144 acres that we want to create 3 lots from. Lot 1 is about 10.94 acres. Lot 2 would be around 54.99. And then lot 3 is the remaining 78.28 acres. There's a green highlighted section on lot 2 that we're proposing to put some family covenants on to allow recreation there and use of that piece of property to enjoy the view of the mountain. Those covenants are being drafted for your review once they're done. And John's approved them. And then for lot 2, I believe we have to request a road frontage waiver because how we have it mapped out here, it's not enough frontage.
yeah. So sounds good. We'll hear from you if you agree. You don't have, I know there's no staff report prepared, so.
I have nothing to add except for there's no wastewater. I'll just repeat the wastewater part. With lot 2, you're increasing the 10-acre existing parcel larger, so that doesn't trigger any wastewater review as far as replacement wastewater. Lot 3 is essentially a boundary line adjustment. However, it will be a separately deeded parcel, and there's no wastewater, there's no development there to trigger wastewater. And lot 1 is the remaining land of the home farm, and the subdivision line being created to the west is farther than 500 feet, so that doesn't trigger, that does not trigger wastewater review, so there'll be no state wastewater review.
Okay. Anything else? Are there any members of the public who'd like to speak on behalf of the application or in regards to the application?
Barb, are you hearing us, Barb? Are you here for this hearing, or are you here for the second one?
Message in the chat.
Okay,
I'm good.
I'm good, Barb says.
Okay.
Irish Settlement, so she's here for this hearing. And please just type in your full name for the record, even though you didn't speak. We just want to show that you were here remotely.
Got to ask if there are any questions by board members.
So it's currently 2 lots right now? Is that what it is, or is it one big?
It's currently 2 lots, you're
Currently
correct.
2, okay,
Kind of an island lot with a 10-acre
right here.
is in the middle.
Yeah.
No, actually, right here,
Oh, right here,
the house, yep.
okay.
Through the driveway we came up.
So
to the
Yep.
road.
Okay, yeah.
So
What are the current lot boundaries?
This is the 10-acre original lot he got from the farm, and then he bought the rest of the farm and added on to it.
Oh, I see, so it's just originally that.
This 10 acres, we're extending to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
proposed to the yellow line,
And the other,
leaving 3.
right. Okay. What happens here too with the stream? So I know the stream is a boundary, but is this part of lot 3, the little,
There's a little strip still there.
okay,
that
that's
ties
3.
it together, so.
And then, so how much road frontage would be with lot 2?
Less than 200 feet probably. or
For
close to
sure.
200
This
feet.
here's, this section here, and maybe this.
I know, it's
Yeah.
like
I don't know.
50
off the
feet.
top of my head.
I think you said that was
I think it
100.
It's like my road frontage.
I want to say it was 140.
Oh, okay, bigger than it
Yeah,
looks.
let's see, LA.
Totally.
Yeah,
Class
sorry,
three highway.
sorry.
49 feet
No, it's
here,
got
and
actually-
3. 49 plus 42, so yeah, about 100.
91.
Yeah, this is C4, so 77.
Where's C4?
This
Oh.
frontage, yep.
Oh, I see. Oh, this is 2. Oh, I see.
Basically about 175 feet of frontage currently.
Yeah. Okay.
so where's existing development on these lots? Is there any?
Here and there, right?
This is a John's house here,
Oh, that's a house, okay,
the driveway from Irish Settlement.
okay.
And then this is the current barn and farmhouse, which is sort of split between Cambridge and Underhill.
So,
And my understanding, according to what you're saying, is you're gonna restrict the deeds against future development for all of this?
Hoping to put covenants on just ag use only. We don't want to develop it at all,
Okay,
other than ag buildings, you know.
right.
But the
No.
attorney's trying to word those covenants. And
What zone are we in?
Oh,
Is it soil conservation?
No,
well, it's the
rural
rural residential.
Oh, okay.
And there's a small section in the water conservation district,
soil and water.
soil and water, sorry.
For a waiver on the frontage, do we actually have to give a number that we're waiving, or is it just sort of a blanket waiver?
We could be specific on the number.
Do we have to?
We don't have to.
Okay.
Prefer not to, actually,
Yeah,
just because,
Yeah.
I mean, if, let's say this is a stamped drawing, but let's say it wasn't. And we gave a waiver on it, and by the time it got stamped, maybe there's a foot difference.
it's the variance we have to give a.
It's not a variance.
Yeah, I know.
Not a variance at all.
Variance is a bad word.
Variance is a bad word. It's a waiver, and the way, well, we're only at preliminary review, but if you were to word a waiver or to grant a waiver, I would say that you would grant enough frontage to make it conform in either district, either district. Right, so that way you cover all your bases.
Mhm.
Can you say that again?
So if you were to grant a waiver, you would grant a waiver for the difference in order to make it conforming
Oh, the
for either
difference, okay, the
difference,
difference, okay.
either district. Just as
Which is what, 400 in one district and
300 in the other.
300 in the other, so.
And we came up with what, 175?
Ish.
Yeah.
So,
Just don't
Wait.
use numbers, just
okay,
say it appears to be approximately 175 feet of frontage and we waive the difference. Or
that and
grant
400 feet. That's the most constraint, okay. We need a motion, is that the way this works, or how?
So the way it works is there any final comments from anybody, including those participating remotely?
I have a question. So with this lot being changed now, I don't know if you can tell Brad how many acres in Cambridge, because the current use, you have to have a certain amount of size. Will that kick this lot out of current use?
I couldn't tell you that.
How many acres are in Cambridge? You don't know how many acres are in
I
Cambridge?
don't know.
I think
That's
this is
19.9. According to Woody, it should stay current.
Yeah, I think you need 20 acres.
I need 22.
Is it 22 acres to be current use? Okay, so.
There's
Two houses.
surveying Cambridge right now to confirm.
Okay, so it's 22 acres. Okay.
So if there were
If you have a
18,
house, then you have the
But
2
it's
acres.
both town, it's not an individual town thing.
I don't believe so. That's a question for your current use person, but I'm pretty sure that, so current use will go across a town highway too. Like if you've got 10 acres on one side and 50 on the other, you can merge it all together with current use, even though we
We have land in
separate.
Westford and Underhill on ours,
There you
and it's all in current use. And each town gives you a tax bill with a different acreage out, but the current use encompasses the whole.
But however, you probably don't have a parcel that's under the current use size.
In either one
In either
now.
one.
That's
So
all.
what he's asking is,
Yeah.
Dad has a piece up here that's in Cambridge, and then he has a piece here. I didn't know if it's gonna kick those two lots out.
I don't think so, but I would ask your current use person, but I don't think municipal lines matter or town roads don't matter.
But Dad's Forester and Fran Sladek and current use review, and so far they're saying it all meets standard.
I think it's fine.
We
By
can
parcel.
send it by a final review to confirm.
Just has to be contiguous.
Because it's at the state level. It's not a town.
Well, the state looks at, it's funny, they use current use, like for wastewater, they'll say that the road divides the lot, right? But for current use, they let you have your cake and eat it too. You can combine the lot acreage on either side.
Makes sense to me.
Well,
Right.
If there's no other comments, I'll ask the board that they feel they have enough information at this time to make a decision on the application.
So I would make one brief comment or caveat before we vote on the waiver. It's like, I have no heartache with the waiver whatsoever, under the condition that it's going to be restricted for future subdivision. If it were to be subdivided, then that starts to open another can of worms for that. But, so just because you're proposing it, but I just want to say that if that's in the final, then.
well, any further development of this parcels would be under DRB review anyway.
Right, but they should be aware.
Oh,
I mean, I may be long gone.
The decision will clearly state, am I right, Charlie? Or,
We haven't written it yet.
well, no, but I know that if it
We
were.
haven't talked about it yet.
Right,
Just
And
trying
it's
to
only
be,
lot-
I'm just trying to be transparent and
Right.
preliminary for their sake.
but it's only lot 2 that would require the variance of frontage.
Waiver.
Waiver, excuse me.
Yes.
So the important thing backing up, so that 10-acre lot was served by a town highway at one time. So the frontage wasn't required at that time. And then the highway was subsequently discontinued. So now if you want to use the brook as the boundary, it's your only option. Right, so, yeah, I'm just trying to clarify why it's came to be that way.
So what are you asking, or what are you?
Well, that was more of a comment,
Comment,
yes,
okay.
comment, just
All right.
regarding, they're asking for a waiver on frontage for that lot
Two.
too.
Yeah.
So, which, like I say, I don't have any argument with that, but I suspect if it were further subdivided, which is not on the table today, but if it's in their minds later, then that could cause heartache in creating ugly situation with subdivided lots.
It's supposed to be in the covenants and all.
Yeah. So it's probably.
That's what Dad's always
Yeah.
wanted.
Okay, so if you think there's enough information been presented to make a decision on the application, I would take a motion for approval.
I'll move to approve the subdivision of this parcel,
So
grant a variance for frontage.
waiver,
Waiver, God, brain cramp,
Sorry, I mentioned
stuck in my head,
the word.
for lot 2 road frontage requirements,
as needed.
as needed.
I second that motion.
So the waiver, not waiver.
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? So this is for preliminary, we're gonna see this one more time. But we've given these guys clear and concise direction on which way to go. So all those in favor of the motion as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. So we'll get a written decision to you. It'll come out as soon as we decide who's gonna write it. But we have to get it to you within 45 days. We'll try to be quicker than that. Bear in mind, we've got a couple holidays thrown in here, but we'll try to get it so you guys can get this rolling as soon as we can.
Thank you.
It's pretty simple, straightforward decision, so it shouldn't be that complicated to write. And then there's a 30-day appeal period. If you guys are anxious, sometimes Mr. Interim zoning administrators, they're known to let appeal periods run prior to the application. So you can submit the application, but we won't hear it until the appeal period's done. So, good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Alright, you pass, I would clear this stuff
So yours, Brad?
off. Yeah, I'll just keep that.
Thank you.
Anywhere?
Well, let me get all the plans set up first.
Oh, yeah. It goes everywhere with me.
Yeah. It's official anyway.
You enjoyed it so much, I was so excited.
I never eat donuts.
I'm only when I do something special, like, it's like getting them, for Thanksgiving.
It's not on my health food diet. And his name Bill, the guy that was with us, said
I got those nuts.
probably tastes really good because it's cooked in some sort of animal fat.
I don't have
That was
You must do this.
I do have it. Knowing those people, I highly doubt it.
Well, I don't own it.
Tyler,
Yeah,
And they keep putting more and more.
Yes.
I'm not.
We didn't get a chance to meet. I'm Mike Steeves. Sorry. Nice to meet you, Mark.
I already have your phone.
Ooh, I want the colorful artwork.
Wow, I got one of those bad shade. That's what ever should be.
You have to start paying for ink cartridges at work.
Whoops.
You probably could catch me eventually.
You have to like run the first room. Yeah, right.
What are you doing? Working on Underhill
Or
stuff?
like in the comments.
Sometimes.
Wouldn't know that far.
Don't go over there.
It's like, my house is upstairs and it's downstairs. Downstairs, I do that quite a bit, like 50 times a day.
I don't think I included that.
Oh.
Okay. Well, it's kind of in there, but a couple more things.
Yeah, I do have that. Mine's a little weird.
Oh, wait a minute, there's two here. Oh, no, there's
copies.
Oh, there's 3 pages here.
So here,
That's weird the way I printed out that way.
Move this up a little bit.
There's
oh no,
2.
I have the full set.
Oh, you do, okay, sorry, I was gonna say.
All right, so let's go.
Nothing else is for now.
The one that showed the one I gave you the second.
But it's
Yeah.
really not amazing.
No,
Let's try to do something here.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's there, this has got to stay on its little
Pedestal.
358, I think it's.
Perch, right? So now it's perch.
Oh,
Scenic preservation.
no.
And then one more thing.
What's the minimum? 400.
I received some comments from the fire station. Net those. May not have enough
It's okay.
here.
Yeah, Brian and I can share.
Yeah, sure.
It's really not very exciting, but we gotta keep on here, so. We can read it into the record, probably. We want to do that short, brief, so we'll just read it into the record. We wish.
So I don't have a good preamble for this one.
When is it going to asphalt on top of all of that?
Oh, if it's not down to asphalt, you're
No, I can read the notice.
they use asphalt as the term for, to the top of, it's, yeah.
There's a ka-chink, ka-chink.
Okay, so,
Again, like I said, I was actually, haven't met him yet, but yeah, I'll be going down there shortly and let them know that I'll be volunteering as soon as we become residents.
Okay, so this is part 2 of our Monday, November 2023 Development Review Board hearing. The DRB is currently reviewing a site plan review application submitted by Michael Steeves and Caitlin Kohl for a new access and driveway located at 459 Pleasant Valley Road. Land use code PV 459. The subject property is located primarily in the soil and water conservation district with a small portion in the north corner that is situated in the Mount Mansfield Scenic Preservation District. This board conducted a site visit at the property on Saturday, November 18th. And the hearing is taking place today, Monday, November 20th at the Underhill Town Hall. I am Charlie Van Winkle. I'm the chairman of the Development Review Board. Also present at the hearing is the applicant, Michael Steeves. Development Review Board members are Karen McKnight, Nick Armstrong, Matt Chapik, Mark Green, Brian Birch, Shani Bartlett, and Tyler. Why don't you just introduce yourself here, Tyler?
Tyler Mulcahy, joining neighbor,
And you're at, which address?
453 Pleasant Valley.
453 Pleasant Valley Road. So, hopefully that's good for Donna.
Yep.
All right, so how we got here is the acting zoning administrator, Brad Holden, who is also present at the hearing tonight, was asked permanent structure on the parcel. Brad determined that the lot was a pre-existing non-conforming lot, and under the rules, our rules required site plan review by the Development Review Board. The project was warned as a site plan review, but through the course of our evaluation of the project, we felt that the encumbrance of the project involves development on steep slopes, very steep slopes, which also require conditional use review here. So we've got a couple of different things going on, but essentially we have to review the application under site plan review and make our findings determined under the site plan review and conditional use review. So there's 7 or 8 criteria under site plan review, and there's 5 criteria under conditional use review. Clear as mud? So copies of the rules of procedure that The board files are available from the Underhill Planning and Zoning Administrator, or they're available at the table as you walked in. The order of speakers tonight will be, first we'll hear and ask questions of the applicant. We'll hear and ask questions of the Planning and Zoning Administrator. And then we'll give other persons in the room a chance to speak. Under our rules of procedure, speakers limited to 3 minutes, however that time can be extended. Upon request and majority consent of the board, the applicant will have an opportunity to respond. Then final comments will be solicited from all parties. All speakers should address their comments to the board and not to other parties present at the hearing. Board members may feel free to ask questions of any speakers. There are no state or municipal representatives present other than Brad Bolton, who is the town administrator and the acting zoning and planning administrator. At this hearing, he's not acting as a town administrator. In that capacity, he's acting as planning and zoning administrator. The interested party information sheet is available to all attendees at the front counter or through Brad, or it's on the town website. Please review it for further information. Only those interested persons who have participated either orally or through written statements in a DRB proceeding may appeal a decision under that proceeding to the Environmental Division of Superior Court. If you're an applicant, a representative of the applicant, or an interested party who wishes to participate in the hearing, we'll have you come to the witness chair, state your name, residential address, and mailing address if it's different. What I'm going to do now is swear in all those present who wish to speak tonight. All individuals who plan to testify must take the following oath by responding "I do" at the end. Do you hereby swear that the evidence you give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth, under the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Tom?
I did not plan to speak tonight.
Okay.
But if I did, I do.
Just in case.
And let the record reflect there's no remote participants this year. So even though the remote participation option is up there. Are there any conflicts of interest? Have there been any ex parte communications on the part of board members?
No.
No.
Okay. At this point, I'm going to enter into the record the information package that was sent out by the Planning and Zoning Administrator prior to the hearing. The information included in this package has a number of exhibits. We've identified them as exhibits A through.
I just think it's a good idea just to run down generally what they are. I'll be quick.
Why don't you run them down for us then?
So notice of public hearing is exhibit A, that's the warning. Exhibit B is the access permit application. Exhibit C is a series of plans, some of which prepared by the applicant, some of which prepared by O'Leary Burke Consulting Engineers. Exhibit D is a certificate of service. Exhibit E is the Burlington Free Press warning as a site plan review. Exhibit F is the A&R steep slopes, A&R Atlas steep slopes map. Exhibit G is the habitat block map, I believe. Exhibit H is hydric soil and wetland map from the A&R. Exhibit I is a generic E911 parcel viewer that shows the, or E911 numbering system that shows neighboring properties. And then what about a new exhibit? Should I?
Exhibit J, yeah.
Exhibit J is, was received on November 9th. And that includes comments and feedback from the Underhill Jericho Fire Department.
Okay, so these exhibits, along with any other exhibits that will be presented tonight, are available in the Underhill Town Hall. They're on the hearing packet that's on our website, and if you need a copy of them, they can be obtained by talking to Brad Holden, the Planning and Zoning Administrator. We'll begin testimony here from the applicant, then we'll hear from the Planning and Zoning Administrator. We'll open it up to the public if anyone shows up, and then we'll solicit final comments. So you met Mark, Mike?
Yes, I did.
Everyone else is going to present the site visit, so we all kind of know each other. Anything that was said at the site visit has to be repeated today. So why don't you give us an overview of what you want to do?
My name is Michael Steeves. I am the applicant. The purpose of this process is for myself and my fiance to build a new home above the steep slope past the power line positioning, which is the same as both of my adjacent property lines. Going through this process, we several times going around the actual design. We made it to concede to the 10% slope. It is 9.9 all the way through with the 35-foot radiuses. I do notice now that I see the opinion of the fire department, they did mention at the 12 feet, and I would have no problem widening those radiuses. The actual, not the footage of the radius, widening the driveway width there up to 20 feet in order to allow for the additional engines to make it around those switchbacks. I am a current volunteer fire department member in the town of Jay, Vermont, and that means it's a great deal to me to make sure that the fire department is able to gain access as needed. Again, we worked over this several times, trying to get it to the legal point that we can actually get a driveway up above. After the site review, I believe, showing the existing entrance to the driveway is very hazardous to anyone pulling in or pulling out. They're both blind sides on the existing corner and the hill subsequent to my neighbor's property. By moving the driveway location to its new location, it actually provides greater sight lines for both directions and allows for safe passage of anyone coming in and out of the property. The existing house is also not usable for our family. The house is literally rotting out from underneath itself. The foundation is crushing in from the backside where they built against the hill, so we don't believe that the house is worth even trying to salvage or attempt to salvage at its current state. Plus the proximity to the road and the setbacks make it very difficult to get any leaching system in there to be legal.
Okay. You're pitching on-site water, on-site wastewater disposal.
100%.
Power comes from the existing utility line that's back there.
Yep. I have variances for both going under the driveway and encroachment of septic system.
Sorry.
Water.
Yeah. Usually it's your turn, Brad, but if you don't have anything to add, you got it.
Well, I could just say that Michael came in with this application and I studied the regs and, as Charlie said, considered it a non-conforming lot, basically because it does not meet the acreage or the frontage for either zone it's in. And according to our section 3.8, non-conforming lots, access review under this section shall be done concurrently with site plan, conditional use, or subdivision review as applicable. If no other DRB is required, then access to a non-conforming lot under this section shall be subject to site plan review procedures under 5.3, which is what I warned it as. I would just say upon further review of the application and reviewing steep slopes, there's a section in the steep slopes, section 3.18 B2, B1, B2. Development on steep slopes and very steep slopes is subject to conditional use review under section 5.4. So technically, the hearing probably should have been warned on a conditional use review. That's just my opinion.
In addition to site plan.
Well, site plan review is concurrent with
Conditional use.
conditional use.
Yeah.
So that's just one thing I'd like to throw out there, but I was, I had a literally 3-day turnaround here to get you on the agenda. So I tried my hardest, but I probably should have studied the application a little bit closer. So, but that's all I have to say.
So some of the things we're looking for that aren't included in the current set of plans, right, is, we wanna know where the house is gonna be. It doesn't have to be detailed.
Actually, there is a set of plans that does show that.
It was in there. No, it was in the plan set review.
Yep, right there. Yep.
No, yeah. Just
This is
take that.
bad version of it. There's another version that has the full.
So these
It
are,
was tucked in, one of them was tucked in.
Yeah, that's
With,
essentially it.
Yeah, I don't, nobody else seems to have got.
Yeah, this one's on the website, but.
Okay.
Well, I think a little different one, but.
Yeah.
Want to show folks that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
no, we
No,
can't.
we have a website, Charlie.
It's in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we didn't have it. It was.
No,
We
it's
didn't have-
in there.
It's on the
in
website.
It's in your packet.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah.
No, I just gave you that. Those
Right, yeah.
little blow-ups of it to make it easier to see. It's the same thing.
This was not. on the
Okay.
website.
I see it.
So, so that is, it sits within the 75-foot setbacks, 12-foot setback for driveway.
Well, that leads to the question of the non-conforming lots, though. It's access review, right?
New
And
site.
of course, site plan review is
Yeah, that
germane to
one
the
is.
site, but is this, are you just looking at the access or are you looking at the whole site? That's the question I have, I guess.
So it's kind of like.
So if you look under non-conforming lots, and I'll just read it again.
Okay.
Access
All right.
review under this section
This section.
shall be done concurrently with,
Piece, and then
conducted concurrently with
He
site
probably
plan.
hasn't seen that yet.
They all merge together.
80.
That's,
You can do it all at once.
All of
This one shows it the best.
This-
With
there's no
elevations,
need
This is
to
probably.
Do it by parts and leave unknowns out there.
So it's really the steep slopes where,
So the issue is the steep slopes,
That's the only thing that's quote non-conforming.
yeah.
Well,
I mean, other than the
lot
existing
size
lot,
and the
but that was already
road frontage.
always that way. That's the new thing that.
So this development of the new house is in this little
yep,
green
right in the green
area?
spot. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah, right in the flat area.
Elevation is there?
Of the property right there, I could
It's
actually,
about 1,000.
yeah, it's just under 1,000. It is, yeah.
And then does the existing house have a well and septic permit already? Or?
I can't, well, it has a well. It doesn't, it's been frozen for a couple of years now. I don't know how deep it is. The existing septic is very vague. The description of where it was is not there. Talk around quite a bit. And then not knowing where that is very difficult to understand where the leaching field is, but being there and, trying to determine between wet and dry seasons, which we didn't get many of the dry season. There's an obvious area that you can see that has caved in towards the left-hand side of where the septic tank supposedly is. I believe actually the septic tank is underneath a crabapple tree. Yeah.
Is the well a drilled or dug?
It's drilled. It's drilled, but it's a small cap well, so I don't believe it's a, depending on drill head size and pump size, its standard is 10-inch, is 6-inch cap, and it was buried pretty far down underneath soil. So we've tried, I've had my plumber out there to try to,
Pull anything?
and he's had a tough time trying to get the wellhead up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're drilling a new well?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yeah, and that is also marked on that page.
Yeah, it's in here. It's just not that
yeah.
one sheet you're handing out. It's this other one. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Both well behind.
So I did look on the wastewater side. I don't see you're applied for any wastewater.
When I talked to the state, so we we have the number that you, when you apply for any permit, you should call a special permit number. The state gentleman recommended that I wait to confirm that the access is
Oh, okay.
approved.
Right.
He said if there was any questions, he could be reached. He said that that there's the two, the wastewater and stormwater.
Makes sense.
Are there any habitat blocks here?
That's in your
I
packet.
think that,
Um,
yeah,
Well, I know Karen's done it.
oh, sorry, there is.
yeah, there are.
Looking at Karen.
You wanna look?
Oh, there you
Yeah, okay, this is you. So everything in the back.
go. It's pretty high, huh?
Yeah, so this is the power line easement, so it's like basically. west-
Everything behind the power line?
Mhm.
But and looking at this map, obviously that no one's cut up there. Where that house is sitting is within view of my next door neighbor. So the habitat line is, it's deemed in between two houses that I'm trying to situate my house in between.
So it's right, you're gonna be
So-
right there,
So this is Tyler.
yes,
This
yeah.
I'm right here, and we are going to be,
Right.
sorry, I'll try to, we're putting ours.
I'd say the
Right
existing
here.
house is right on
Right
the
there.
edge of the block.
Yeah,
And is it a ranked 5 or 6 out of 10? Is that how they kind of rank these blocks?
I'm
Yeah,
looking
this
at
one's
about
right.
a
Oh, is it?
6,
5.
a 5?
Yeah,
Six.
it's good.
Oh, I see
5 to
the
6.
shade
Six.
of the
Six.
yellow.
I would
Yeah.
say 6,
6, yeah.
yeah.
Closer to yellow.
But it's right on the edge. It's just, you see the power line on the,
Yeah, you can actually see
Yeah, I
all
can
the
see
power
that,
line.
it's a little yellow, isn't it?
right, so
Yeah.
just
Right
about.
there
Yeah.
runs the power line.
Part of the deal is.
Well, it's just where, they kind of asked me to go and make
Like,
stuff
we
so that they,
Top of Mansfield,
Whole-
10.
yeah, next to my
I'm
house,
just
it's like,
curious.
it's like off the charts, yeah. So that they can have access.
This side of the street is actually much higher ranking.
If it's got a
Yeah, see,
high
that's
habitat
been
value,
highest.
for
Yep.
natural study.
I just
Yeah,
haven't
but this,
seen it.
what he's looking at is being right
Yeah.
on the board.
Yep, you got part of it too.
So the
Okay,
big
we're
issue,
gonna
right, that's like that we're having a tough time with is the driveway.
Mhm.
Right, and the amount of clearing that's required from the driveway, and the fact that the driveway goes through 30% slope. And our regs say no development in 30% slope. So how do we get around that?
Oh, I'm not gonna tell you, getting around it is virtually me, no matter where you go on that property, whether I go left or right,
You gotta get up over the 30%.
it's, both of my neighbors roll right through the same exact parcel. And
Their grandfather.
and so isn't this property. So the access is what's deeming.
So that's what we're wrestling with. Right?
And
I think I can safely say now, a lot of the board members who are at the site visit are fans of the driveway design. And Mark, I'm sure you wouldn't like it. but-
I didn't quite catch that.
I said, I think I can safely say that a lot of people who are on the site visit, the board members aren't fans of the driveway design.
So I know there was a question on grade, and I did send this over to Brad today.
Oh, I don't think it's a question on the grade.
So, when the house is removed and the property is regraded, it actually, and you match up to the 2 points that it grades out fairly nicely.
Huh, so this is, this plan looks like it has much less wall than the
It
plan.
does, once
Okay.
I'm able to remove the house, which was, as I was describing in the walkthrough, that the mortgage company prevents me from removing the house at any point in time until I have enough equity in the second structure.
Huh.
So right now, I can't remove the house until next year, or theoretically next year when the new house is built, prior to getting occupancy. I can't get occupancy until this house is removed. I also can't remove it until I have enough
Chicken
equity.
and egg.
Yeah, exactly. So when that house is removed and this property is graded correctly, because as you can see, you've seen the site visit, the section behind the house has basically been washed out since the gentleman has tried to get up in there and do mapling.
Yeah.
And really, it's just, it should have never been that house should have never been built the way it is, because they took out the backside cut of the hill, and it just is a constant flow down into the house property in that area. There's, once the house is removed and you can regrade that hill correctly back to somewhat original lines, it's a much safer design and allows for all the vegetation to be planted, trees.
So that's the point. So you're gonna lose all the trees here.
No, I'm gonna keep the trees. You can.
I don't know how you can do that when you have, there's 940 and there's 940 existing, so that's 10 feet.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're gonna lose the
sorry,
trees.
that's 930, this is 940. You can't put in 10 feet of fill around a tree. I mean, there's a tree well at 2-3 feet maybe, but not 10 feet.
Yeah, we will. So you can do it over multiple years. And that's so as we've seen, the majority of the trees, except for a select few, are all new growth within the past 10 to 15 years that the gentleman let go. He cut down all the old growth trees for the most part, except for the maples that he liked over here and a couple of select oaks in his zone here. Everything else is fairly small and is going to be tipping over sooner or later as the ground underneath it gives way.
But I'm seeing in this final grading plan, it looks great, but it's very different than the original one. Much more stable because it's more gentle.
And
I get it, but that means you need to I mean, those trees are gonna leave, and I don't really have a problem with that. I just wondering if there's any way to minimize that by tweaking this. But I think you've done a good job of meeting our requirement of 10% grade. It'd be great if you didn't have to do so much fill in some of the areas. And I don't know if there's an easy way around that. But
So, how big are those two new walls? I know the old walls were 10 feet apiece. Are those the same height?
Right here?
Yeah.
No, they're 8. Yeah.
8, okay.
Yeah. The big one is right here.
How is that different than this?
Well, see, this plan has a wall that went all the way across, like a wall that went all the way across the whole entire property.
Oh, I see.
here, and that stepped up here
Right.
a little bit.
But the driveway shape hasn't changed.
No,
No, the driveway shape does not change.
What he's doing basically is
Just
eliminating
took
this
out those two
wall
walls.
and those walls because once the house is gone, he can fill that.
Yeah. So which plan would we be asked to approve? This new plan?
The plan doesn't, well,
He can't do this one right off because he can't take that house out.
yes.
Well, but I mean, when we approve a plan, it's, it ultimately comes down to occupancy. So if this work's done before, you issue a CO, doesn't that mean, that would be, you could build this plan essentially?
So we could look at the plans as phase
Right,
one,
right.
phase two.
Okay.
And before we grant occupancy on the new house, we'd require that the old house be removed.
Okay, and so, phase one, I mean, it wouldn't have a 20-foot wall that is just like temporary, would it?
No.
Okay, I don't think so. So,
I just have a quick question. So we were looking at a fill, I think it was like station 6-ish, 6-ish, 550, 6-ish.
Mhm.
And the ledge was right there, right?
Mhm. Yep.
And it was a fill 9.
Yep.
Roughly.
Yep, where the hip
Right.
is right there. That's
So-
all been, that was removed by the
Well, let me get to my-
renter, so,
let me get to my
apologize,
question.
yeah.
So my question is, you're gonna put 9 feet of fill against a ledge, an exposed ledge. And I'm just trying to picture that in my head. How are you gonna retain that? How's the fill gonna glue onto the ledge? You know what I mean? If
The
water-
ledge acts as the perfect backdrop to compress any material. That way you no longer have 4 points of,
On the uphill,
Yeah.
but he's
Yeah.
got a retaining wall on the lower side.
yeah.
So you wouldn't worry about that, just,
No, and against the ledge?
Yeah.
The uphill, absolutely not. No, that's the most ideal circumstance.
I think what you're talking about though is you're worried about the
Water.
downhill side.
The water coming over.
What's holding the downhill side in when it's not like we're talking about 10-foot fill like this.
No, well, we would have a stormwater washout on that side running down to, an additional cover point there.
I do have another question on the wall.
Absolutely.
It's on this plan, the one I was looking at, it
Mhm.
says, typical block wall designed by others. So you at the site visit said it would be a boulder wall?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, what does designed by others mean?
And an engineer will not, it's kind of the engineer will not call out what the design needs to be suited for soil purposes.
Okay.
That's the contractor's
Okay.
obligation to him actually going through and putting in the right fill material and compacting it per stages.
Okay, would it be like a geotechnical engineer? Or somebody who's like kind of more, knows the studies of soils, like just so that's a big wall.
Yep.
It's not like a landscape wall, it's a
No, it's a landscape wall.
20-foot landscape wall?
No, it's 8 foot.
Well, two of them
Right.
staggered, right?
Well, 2 of them step, so yeah.
Yeah, so that's supporting the road, so.
And then it's gone.
Okay, so I just was kind of wanted to be clear on what we're approving. If it's designed by others, do we have a design by others? Wasn't in the packet. Is that something Brad approves? Like,
No, nobody approved.
That's not something that was required.
No, I don't think that's something we approved, just like
No,
the house
and
design.
that's actually a state issue to deal with compact and fill.
okay,
No, it isn't.
No.
Well, that was how it was described to me. It's by the state, actually. So, that's what I had, because when this originally started, Nick was here.
Yeah.
And Nick told me to call the state and talk to the state and explain to him, because that was actually a question that I brought up to him. Two things, the culvert, how does the culvert act within the town regulations and the level of fill? And Nick said, you need to go to the state and talk to them about filling and tearing your house down. I talked to the state. They said there's regulations on the state website. That's what every contractor needs to adhere to. And that was the conversation.
So that's for Phil. I think
Okay.
your question is more, is there a structural design for this retaining
Where
wall?
is retaining wall? Yeah.
And I think what you're saying is the contractor is gonna, if you're gonna do a boulder wall, it's not the contractor's liability.
It would technically
expertise, yes.
technically it would be the contractor's liability. Yes. Yeah.
That's-
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. So, okay, well, I like this new
So-
plan a
so-
lot better than the
I
plan.
don't know if that answered your question. If you asked me to have a geotechnical engineer design that wall, I would do it. It's just not required within the parameters of the town. So that I understand.
Okay,
So, it's a big boulder wall. But when the existing house is removed, that boulder wall is removed. That double step is removed.
Well, some of it's still there.
And some of it's still, the double step wall is completely removed though.
okay, so this will be temporary?
Yep. It is, yep.
Okay,
Wait a second. No.
So
This is permanent though.
that one is permanent. He's referring to
Yeah.
this.
This one over
Yeah.
here.
okay,
But this
Yeah.
one's permanent, which is
That
the
one's-
same,
Yep.
similar situation.
okay, yeah, I'm just.
Less of a grade change though in this
If I
location.
can,
That would be
Yes.
the big difference there.
Yep,
The grading is drastically different between that corner and this corner.
yep, I got you. All right. Do you have any concerns with, I know you're on the fire department,
Yep.
with that email?
Yeah, this is the first time I've seen it, but, again, he did mention that, the possibility of, the two engines not making it around those switchbacks, at 12 feet, I'm not gonna say you can or can't. Again, at those switchback points, I would have no problem increasing the width of that driveway to 20 feet for allowing the fire truck, for peace of mind for the fire department to get in there. That would be.
You mean just on the switchback?
Just on that's where he's actually,
Yeah,
that's where he's calling out
I
that,
know that.
you know,
but he's-
and it really, those are the, yeah. No.
So what do you kind of, I think what he's saying is asking is, can you model that? Like, the way we've seen the model in the past is there's, there's like a template that they can kind of put on this plan, and it shows how much the truck can navigate. And so I think that's what he's saying is, can you model that to show it? And I don't know the size of engine 8 or the size of engine 5, but.
Yeah, again, this is the first time I've seen these
Yeah, first time.
emails, so I don't know. It wasn't forwarded to me, so I could have,
No,
I think the real modeling would be
Somebody-
getting the guys that actually drive the trucks to come drive it, because You could ask any one of them and say, oh, I had somebody model this and you can do it. If they don't want to do it, they won't do it.
Yeah, what the model's gonna tell you is it can happen.
Okay.
What, in reality, it might be just too tight for you can't, you won't be able to tell the radius of the turning of a fire truck that's, 10, 15 years old until you actually get that radius. So, again, increasing the width of the radius to satisfy the fire department is fairly simple.
I thought that for the driveways that we looked at, like English settlement, the requirement was that they had to have a radius of 35 feet.
They both of them are 35
I
feet.
know,
Yep.
but that met the specs that the fire department set.
Mhm.
So I don't understand part of what he's saying here. That's
Unless
unless
in
it's
the
down.
engine that day, he wants more room to encourage him to get up the hill.
Was that access off the public right away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
I do like the new access location. That's like, a thousand times better than what you have, like, what you're dealing with, like, right now.
What would happen to the existing driveway? Just let it grow in?
Get rid of it completely. Yeah, no, as I mentioned, we're big into gardens, trees, bushes, flowers.
Gonna have goats there for you.
I'm tired of those goats eating all my vegetation. Love them to death.
So, unless I missed it in our package, there's no stormwater management plan or erosion control, sediment control plan that we've got.
No.
So we're gonna wanna see that. We're gonna wanna know sequence of construction. We're gonna have to get into this. If we're gonna approve it, we have to get into this a lot more.
Well, what are those criteria you mentioned?
Yeah, it's one of the criteria.
Okay.
For stormwater management plan, this is under the criteria that's outlined under our site plan, for development on steep slopes. Right, so the application requirements, we've done a lot of the grading plan by a professional engineer. We'd ask for a stamped copy, but,
Did your engineer, did the O'Leary Brothers, did they review the regulations on steep slopes and stuff? They checked it out and they saw the regulation for very steep slopes.
I can't tell you.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what. No, and this all started, O'Leary Burke put the project on because the original engineer that Justin Willis recommended told me to go call my neighbor. That was after 2 months of walking around the property with him, and he said, oh, you have to call your neighbor and you got to get an easement. And I was just, as you can see, one neighbor talks to me. The other neighbor, I've tried to communicate with them. I've left them a letter saying, my name's Mike. Property next door, would love to have a conversation. And that's totally up to them. I don't,
Have you proposed that to Tyler?
I can't get, the only thing I could ever do with Tyler is use, basically his driveway as a second. And I would literally be coming into his house. It's not, his house is right above the power lines. Mm-hmm. So as I would take if Tyler would ever let me, I would literally my headlights would be pointing, and any vehicle would be pointing right into his house. And I would never want to do that to him. That's just not fair. Yeah. I don't believe in something like that. If I could have, I would have bought more property from my next door neighbor if I could, but no matter what, you still fall into the same slope section here. It doesn't matter if I increase the width of my property at all.
Yeah, so,
but
I would say we can't approve development over 25%, right? Under our section, where is it, Brad?
It's section,
I believe it.
that's why I'm just surprised that,
approval is subject to the DRB.
hang on a minute.
No,
So
there's section E, under 3.18 E, right?
Yes, 3.18, very steep slopes.
Very steep slopes. So site disturbance and development not limited to grading, building construction, and installation of driveways, roads, utilities, or other infrastructure is prohibited on very steep slopes, parentheses, greater than 25%, except for activities that are exempt under subsection B. which you don't qualify for.
And the
Rock
following.
And the
climbing
following,
areas, stuff like that.
which must otherwise meet all relevant steep slopes and standards under subsection D. So, ski lift is allowed. Those are kinds of things that are allowed.
We're judging the,
Although, wait a minute,
There you go.
this one looks like it could be.
Yeah, a driveway road required to serve proposed development extends no more than 100 feet into an area of very steep slope.
So that's-
Clear document.
so
No
that-
other means of access can be provided.
With no other means of access that can be provided.
so, let's back up a second. We're looking at an A&R map here that may or may not be based on 2014 LiDAR data. I would say at the very least, you'd want somebody to certify what the slopes are.
But we've all been out and walked on them.
Well,
Bring your clinometer or?
No, but I'm just saying, I don't know, I feel like we have regulations that say you have to have a 10% or less grade on your driveway.
I'm talking about determining the difference between steep slopes and very steep slopes.
On the map.
Okay.
So if it's under
So if you're
25%, we can give them approval.
Well, I'm saying some of that area is under 25%.
Right, but some of it's
over
over, some of it's
25%.
over.
Right.
And.
So this last one here.
the
So-
last
so
paragraph says-
If we're going in that direction, then I would say that the majority of the driveway is actually in the less of the steep slope. The steeper slope, as we've all been witness to the walkthrough, the steepest part of the slope
I
is.
have no measurements to go by. I
I'm-
don't care. I've done this my entire life.
I'm
You
not,
can walk out on the slope all day long until it's mapped. I mean, somebody, if they take the LiDAR data or if they've shot any contour data there, take it and model it. You can model out the slopes in seconds.
It's allowed 100 feet into
We're
the.
using, compare this to using like a 20-foot contour USGS model. We don't know what that's based on. I'm just saying you're basing it, we're looking at this steep slope map.
So this section D, subsection D under section E, which kind of gives us a window. It says a driveway or road required to serve proposed development, which extends no more than 100 feet into an area of very steep slope. If it is clearly documented that no other means of access can be provided, you're granted an exception to the very steep slopes.
Of 100 feet.
100 feet, and the very steep is over 25% versus steep is 25% or under.
No one here at this table can determine 100 feet is very steep slopes here with the data we have right now. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, there's a drawing,
That,
Michael Ward.
This is based on, we don't know. A&R, there's a huge disclaimer on this. Maybe based on LiDAR data, maybe not. The LiDAR data, I can tell you, is 3 meters. You'd
what
miss
about a
that.
survey?
Is that based on this?
Well,
contour?
I don't know. I'm assuming they use the LiDAR data.
Do you have access to Michael Moore subdivision?
Yeah, right. So that was
So
a
show
one
the-
I was,
Show them the example.
Yeah, his engineer did a
Example of
really
that.
nice slope map.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
and I'm just using my survey background of 35 years here to tell you that data is only good as data is, right? So if they're using LiDAR data, I haven't looked at that plan to even state what they base the contour data on. I'm sure it's 2014 LiDAR, which I know is 3 meters. So when you have a shot 3 meters apart, okay, we're up here and then the next one's down here, you don't have enough shot. The brake lines aren't there. LiDAR's just throwing a grid out there. So you don't get the brake lines in the bottom of the cliff, top of the cliff. Could be in your benefit, is what I'm saying. If you solely base it on this, you can't base a regulation that describes it that accurately based on this data. That's all I'm trying to say. I can guarantee you they took this off.
That boulder location with the flat vertical face would be helpful to know where that is in the driveway.
Right.
Right here.
Looks like it's kind of at the base of the hill, but.
Pull that mic up.
right here.
You're right, I was thinking that.
So Mike, you said, that the driveway couldn't like extend into the house, is that, I know the house has to stay until your other house is like close to finish, but, like,
It's,
is that the reason?
no, because as you go further across the property, that actually tails down a little bit as you
Oh,
come this
okay.
way. So you can actually, if you see those lines, that it keeps dropping a little bit. So no matter, we actually did it. We went all the way across
Yeah.
and then we tried to go up. And it didn't, because you couldn't get enough pitch going up. So then we brought it across and brought it this way. And it didn't change anything.
Yeah.
Show me
It's
what the
still the exact same,
It's LiDAR data.
it's still the same rise.
Okay.
Because you just can't get that second one in, because by the time you get over here, it's dropped too low.
What do our regulations say then?
Well,
Yeah,
our
we're gonna get
regulations
land.
should say that, all I'm trying to say is, it's those areas of very steep slopes are not defined as polygons on that map.
Right, but the existing contours are there.
Are you gonna scale it and determine a slope? I don't think that's our job. Oh, let me show you the Michael Moore plan, which I thought was
Okay.
very well done.
All right, but I have
It's
a
a
hard,
simple-
I have a hard
See,
time.
I would wanna know if I'm, if it's 20% or 25.
It's a simple modeling exercise
Yeah, I
done on a
personally, I'm
computer
putting
that
in the driveway. I
takes
wanna know.
literally
I wouldn't be
seconds.
going
Okay.
minutes,
Sure.
for sure,
I think
because it might alleviate
And
my
visual is
headache.
better than.
Yes, I know.
So are we in agreement that we somehow, he has to get up to the top of the hill or access to that lots? Otherwise the lot is not buildable, or?
Correct.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah,
Is it
We haven't really talked about it, agreed about it, or
What
done it.
about down below?
It's,
Well, look at-
I can't get a septic system in below.
So what's there now is adequate.
So-
I don't even think there's, like I said, I believe the tree is growing on top of the septic tank right now. Like you can't even, there's not a plan that shows a leaching field anywhere going backwards. And without knowing where the septic tank is, I was, swinging there with a excavator, and it's about all you can do.
Can you put that up on the screen?
I'm just gonna print it so everybody can see it.
or pump up.
I guess my question is, would you take a 20-foot contour USGS and look at it? You see what I'm getting at? The data.
No, I know,
We
because,
have an
so,
accuracy
well,
problem.
we have an accuracy problem. We've got regulations that describe something that happens under slopes less than 25%. And you're saying we don't have any baseline of what is less than 25% for the town. We don't have a good map
Well,
resource.
that should be done with the site plan that's proposed, right?
And that's what you're gonna show us where somebody else did that.
Yeah,
I get that point. Be that as it may, we also have some regulations for what can happen if it's greater than 25%.
Correct.
So let's have the conversation around that,
Mhm.
knowing that we've got those issues, and you're gonna show us what outlines
Map
the
should look
existing,
like.
yeah.
Yeah.
All
I'm saying is,
I don't wanna stop the conversation
No.
because we don't have that data.
no,
That's what I'm
I
saying.
get your point, but I'm just saying the data is important because now if you're looking at 100 feet, okay, we can grant this 100 feet in a very steep slope situation.
Mhm.
There's nothing on that site plan that shows you where 100 feet of very steep slope is.
Okay.
It needs to be drafted as a polygon on that map, and then somebody needs to certify that those contours are good.
So we would look to Larry and Bert to do that.
Absolutely.
Right? And,
Yeah.
So, Michael, what we're printing out here is another applicant who had a similar situation, did a slope analysis. This is what we're looking at. And he was able to snake a driveway in through the steep slopes.
Yep.
And then abandoned that approach, but we got.
Like Cass Engineering is the gentleman that refused to do my plan, actually. Yeah.
We're not gonna approve the driveway that's snaked up into that.
Yeah, we weren't.
Yeah.
That's why.
Right,
But-
yeah, so that
But
was.
they had tried to sell us this.
Well, so he's the gentleman that Justin Willis, we all know
Right.
Justin, and Justin's phenomenal. I mean, I didn't need to go very far to know how great he was throughout the town. Everybody knew him. So I tried to work with the gentleman that Justin recommended, because doing the test pits was actually the ultimate decision on whether or not we could get an actual house up there that would,
Right.
And we did that prior to purchasing the home. And knowing that, I knew the pitch was tough, and I knew it was gonna be a difficult driveway, but I also knew
I'll
on.
just hold it up.
Oh, great.
Okay, so
Yeah, a little
we can
closer.
see it's basically contour data, and these polygons, I call them polygons. And those are areas that are shaded over the existing site plan that show the different various slopes. And they're keyed
Dark
down
arch
here.
is greater than 25 and yellow is
They're
less.
keyed, the legend, follow the legend, and that tell you what they are, but that's, otherwise,
Okay.
you're trying to take this piece of data, which we don't know what it's based on.
Yeah.
I could look at the metadata and maybe see what it was based on.
Yeah.
So we maybe, all I'm saying is, it's nice to have accurate information.
This drive.
So when our regulations on very steep slopes says we can do something on, it says a driveway or road required to serve proposed development which extends no more than 100 feet into an area of very steep slope. So 100 feet, is that across it if it's,
I would say on horizontal measurement.
so
Or on the slope, you could say on the station.
Right, so I guess
On
what
the
I'm saying
station,
is-
on the station.
if this area based on existing contours is less than
25%.
25%, and this section is 100 feet of more than 25%, that would be okay. It would fall under that purview as long as it wasn't more than 100%. Well, as long as one of these dark orange things wasn't more than 100 feet of the driveway.
Right.
Probably contiguously, maybe not.
This
Maybe
shows,
50 feet here, 50 feet there.
if this is correct,
What about if it's 100 feet here?
the house is in the steep slope.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
The
It's
what?
gray area, and
I
I
didn't
guess,
hear what you said there.
So if this is correct, or somewhat correct, the existing house is in that 25%.
So, and I think that's why I understand why Brad said that this is you could literally take this exact same drawing and shade the colors over.
Yeah,
And
I would want
yeah,
something.
that would help us a lot.
And have something
Yeah, that'd
already.
be
And it'd
very
help you.
helpful.
Said they actually verified the-
A band, like-
I would have it for you today if this was requested of me. I don't.
Well, it sounds like there's some other things that we're gonna need, like the erosion control and,
Yeah, well, when you stormwater management plan,
yeah,
culvert sizes are pretty much what you got, right?
Mhm.
You need to see where they are. You need to be able to hold your feet to it. This way, when Brad, whoever his successor is, comes out to give you an occupancy permit, you can validate where the culverts are, what the riprap is, key integral parts of infrastructure improvement. So they come out, they do water, sewer, driveway. They don't really go in the house though. What do you have to for that smoke type of thing? For your occupancy permit.
Oh, no.
No. So it's all outside infrastructure is what governs our CO, certificate of occupancy.
Absolutely. And once again, talking with the state specialist, he told me to wait until
But without having it on a drawing, we have nothing to validate as built versus as planned. So,
If I would encourage, this is just my 2 cents. If O'Leary Burke based all that on LiDAR data, it might behoove you to go up and take some shots and get some real, as I said, so LiDAR's flown from a plane,
Yeah, I
right?
understand.
You know what LiDAR is?
Yeah.
It's done 3-meter pattern. The 2014 stuff is 3-meter pattern,
Mhm.
right? So when you're flying over, if a shot's here, the shot's there, simply interpreting in between the 2 shots to create the data.
Is
So
Filled in.
if you go out, you can actually locate the top of the brake, locate the actual bottom of the brake. Your contour data is better, and it possibly could be in your benefit. It could be either way.
Yeah. So-
Either way, someone's gonna have to certify the contour data, what it's based on.
So,
And it's
Yeah.
the existing data, sorry,
go ahead.
right, the existing data, the existing grade of the 25% that would factor into that, not what finished grade is later.
That's right.
I still see the house in the 25% greater.
The
shed is
existing
not.
house you're talking about.
Yeah,
You mean the old house?
on this.
The old house.
Yeah, which, I mean,
Yeah.
that's like, didn't look
Yeah, I
like
thought you
anywhere
meant
close to
that.
20%.
But again,
Yeah, it's not even close, yeah. Yeah.
Right behind it.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not-
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these maps are like a guide, but they're not.
exactly, they're not the truth.
Yeah.
So you sign a big disclaimer every time you go onto the NR site. For parcel data, for contour data, for any kind of data, you click your life away and say, yes, I understand that this is not 100% accurate, right?
Mhm.
And consult with a professional or whatever it says.
So
But this is done by Steve Giglio at KS.
Yep.
And, sorry.
Okay.
None of a good friend of mine.
Okay, so how do you-
He was the person that refused to do my plan.
Oh.
That's Justin,
Because of
So can
complexity.
O'Leary and
he said to me, actually, the specific thing was, I'm not gonna draw a plan that costs you $100,000 to do and you get mad at me for it. And I said, I don't care what it costs me theoretically. I mean, obviously I don't care, but it wasn't a matter of, I need the driveway needs to cost me $25,000 to build. I said, my sole purpose is to get from point A to point B. And however that works and however that much costs me is what it's going to be.
So, in the end, if he gets the contour and the driveway design and it can't be done 100 feet or less into the 25%, we have to provide access to the site. It's a pre-existing.
That's not true.
We don't.
I don't want to just push your bubble, but there's an existing house there now, an existing access. Right? It's not like this was a raw piece of land,
Okay.
right? I'm just trying to state the
Oh,
facts.
if it was a raw piece of land, I wouldn't even be here. You guys
Right.
wouldn't even let me
Can you
attempt to
get
do this.
Right.
The house it's a house that has been sat vacant for several years prior to me even purchasing it. It's falling down.
I get it. That house is,
It's not a suitable spot to build or rebuild or try to put a leaching field system down to basically where there's a stormwater washout already that goes into the gentleman across the street's field. I'm not gonna put my leaching field into somebody's property, basically.
I just have one other question. So,
Sure.
you brought this other plan in here, but, and I haven't got a chance to look at it yet, but say the house is gone, right?
Mhm.
Could the approach of the driveway be totally different?
No,
Could
because
you-
by the time when
Why couldn't you make your switchback where the house is?
We just
Well, you
have-
can't take it down
Because
until.
it's so.
Well, no, I understand, but think
Because
about
there's so much,
phasing.
because there's so much fill there.
it's by that time that when you're staying at the house point, you see the property starts to drop off. So it really didn't change. Just increasing the length didn't change how far back we need to create on the switchback because we needed to gain the elevation somehow. No matter how far across we went, the elevation.
Yeah, this first
Yeah.
switchback, he was already like 6-8 feet above the house.
Yeah.
So bringing it up is good.
Yes.
So in our regs, there is a section in the 2018 driveway ordinance where we can allow up to 12% for a 50-foot section.
You're talking very small increments on 50 feet. So
Well, it gives you 2 feet. I've designed plenty of, I've drawn plenty of driveways.
we talked about this on the site. So when Nick went over to me with me, it was, we're allowed, and this is how we described it. I was allowed, 1 point at 12% for 50 feet.
Right. Well, I'll get you a foot. Yeah. 100.
And then, we've talked about it during the walkthrough. Can we do multiple points at 12.5? It doesn't really change the layout of the driveway or how the switchbacks work though, because no matter what, you still have to get 42.5 feet out. So by increasing that, the length doesn't, I need to get more length.
And the 4 extra feet of width is gonna change things a little bit.
Shouldn't for the grade.
Mhm.
It shouldn't for the grade.
No. No.
So, just to provide clear direction to you, we want more information.
Mhm.
We would like to know what the stormwater management plan looks like. We'd like to know what the erosion prevention and sediment control looks like during, I'm assuming you want to do more construction. Because you said at the end of the day, but.
Yep, absolutely.
We'd like to hang our hat on the review criteria that's outlined under section 5.3 of our regs, which is site plan review. Our further review will go under section 5.4, which is conditional use. And in section 3.18 of our regs, outline all the criteria that touch upon steep slopes. So one of the things that Brad was trying to articulate was, if you did the slope analysis, you could get away with working in the 15 to 25% slope range, which is a little bit more leeway than greater than 25%. So,
What does that give you, I don't know, what does that give you leeway in?
well, you get the word prohibited development out of your.
Right there. So if you were to look at this, if you were to look at this solely based on this A&R data, there's no way you could approve this.
Yeah.
Because above 25%.
Can I add that's actually your opinion, correct?
Well, that's my opinion. That's what the words say.
Okay.
No, but according to the data provided, that's your opinion. It's not actual.
So we're asking you to do a slope analysis.
And that's,
I think it'll help you.
and I had been asked, in the beginning, I had no problem doing it.
Yeah.
I'm just going by what was.
You got a new guy, newish guy.
I completely understand. I have no problem with the board requesting me to do anything additional. In fact, that's fine. I mean,
I
that's
just
moving
want you to
forward
walk
on the whole
away.
process.
I want you to walk away tonight fully understanding, and it's hard to make it clear to you what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Right. And so if I can quote the 3 sections of our regs, site plan review is under section 5.3. Right.
Thank you.
I could even give you the.
I can email you the
What you're specifically.
summary. Yep.
So section 5.3, right, is the site plan review criteria.
Yep.
Section 3.18 is the steep slope criteria.
Yep.
And section 5.4 is the conditional use findings criteria. So section 3.18 outlines a lot of technical stuff that an engineer would do or we would expect to see on engineering drawings, namely stormwater management, erosion prevention, sediment control.
Which are all state permits.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
That's what falls. That's
that's
why
what
when
I
the state, I talked to the state told me to get approval first, and they will furthermore follow up with that approval with the approval
Yeah.
of all those items. It's a state requirement, correct?
Right now.
I just want to make sure
Fall
it's-
under a general permit. Right?
Yeah.
If you're disturbing less than, is it 5 acres?
Half acre.
For erosion?
Yeah.
Half acre.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just, there's different tiered type of permits,
Yep.
but, yeah, so this would likely be at least the lowest tier. I don't know about a stormwater permit. Do you?
He already asked, yep.
Okay, you do require a state stormwater permit?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, well.
He didn't actually,
I don't think you would.
no,
Because
he
the half
said,
acre
no,
permits-
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
He didn't say. He said, we would recommend you to do it,
Okay.
but we don't require it.
Yeah, it's pretty
The
rare
state-
for a house site to
Correct.
trigger a
Yeah.
state stormwater permit.
Yep, nope, yeah, that was,
You need a really big house.
Yeah.
Or a really long driveway.
and that was, yeah.
Both of which could be in place.
Could be, but it's still like, it's still pretty rare, but yeah, have them confirm that.
Yeah.
But still, our regulations aren't as stringent as the state, but we still
We rely on the
regulate.
state
Okay.
as your burden of proof.
But we still require a management plan, right? Is that, okay.
Stormwater management plan?
Yeah.
We don't know what's gonna happen to the stormwater. We wanna make sure Tyler doesn't get flooded out.
Right.
Or the downstream neighbor across the street, right?
Pleasant Valley Road.
Yeah, or Pleasant Valley Road.
We don't want to revisit
Landslide.
Piney Grove.
Yeah, we had a bad experience.
I've heard, yeah. I understand why, and, I can't say what somebody else did in their,
But,
previous.
so like, our job tonight is to make sure you're totally clear with what we're looking for.
Absolutely, and that's.
And I could give you some examples of what that looks like. This
I'm gonna take that with me.
This is just one of a set of 5 plans. And one is simply for erosion control, the other's for, And this is all available. on
And
our website.
I agree,
Take it
and,
with it, yeah.
but I want to be clear that is actually a state requirement, it's not a town requirement. Plan for erosion control and,
Oh, no, it's down.
okay, that's what I'm trying to understand, yeah.
He came in here with direction from the state saying, get our approval
Yeah.
first, before you do all these things, and what we're telling
The
you.
state didn't want
basically
to, the state didn't want me to submit a permit unless I had approval from the town.
So
But I think what
here,
we're telling you is you need to get all, you need to submit for that
Mhm.
before we can give you that
Mhm.
approval. So we can look at it.
so I will give you excerpts of our zoning regs
And we're in
Oh, I have
scenic
more.
preservation.
that are,
The northwest or the northern corner of this.
so you have 5.3, 5.4, and 3.18 there.
Thank you.
So, and in 3.18, there's a very specific, we want stormwater management, erosion protection, sediment control, and narrative on construction. There's a little bit of work there. So that's what we're looking for. How much time do you need?
When's the next meeting?
So the next meeting is December 2nd. We have this issue of the conditional use not being warned. So unfortunately, there's not enough time to get a warning out that includes this project in conditional use for December 2nd. We
Unless,
can do it on December.
can I actually, did you also brought up the last applicant that occasionally the zoning board administrator allows for the previous time application?
Yeah, that's approval.
That's approval.
Approval. It's approval.
Okay, I'm just,
So what happened, again, because I was
trying to get it in.
under the gun,
Yeah.
and I
No, I
didn't,
appreciate it.
do my own work like I should have, I warned it as a site plan review. In hindsight, looking at the steep slopes and studying the steep slopes, it's conditional use review, which is concurrent with site plan review. So technically, if we want to protect ourselves, our applicants, our abutters, the town, we should warn it properly. So it'll be rewarned 15-day period.
Yeah.
So if we say you picked,
I mean,
December 16th.
December 18th, Monday.
so, I mean, you're talking about a month of winter time, so that's why I'm concerned about the whole thing.
We could go back on the 4th and we just have it back on the 18th again. All right. We think we have to warn conditional use review.
So could
Say that last part again. So I could come on the 4th, but
We think we have to warn conditional use review.
Mhm.
Because we're getting into the
Very
waivers and very steep slopes. You could produce a drawing that says you're not impacting very steep slopes than
for more than 100 feet of clear.
more than 100 feet.
There you go.
no, well, right, but again, so, but then you've got the 15 days notice, you're better off to do the warning early, anticipating it being reviewed as conditional use, right? Say you get it, I see what you're saying, Charlie, but
Yeah.
Even if it's 100 feet, he's still in the steep slopes, so it's.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
not in a very
because-
steep slope.
well, no, but it's different than that. It says, other development on steep and very steep slopes is subject to conditional use review.
So it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Doesn't matter. So, December 18th is the earliest we can get you in again. Which we will do. We'll rewarn the hearing at our expense.
Yeah, I'll do.
At our expense, because we made a mistake.
But hold on here. So basically, you're gonna need that much time anyway, because your materials have to be here the minute the warning's out, right? So I'm just counting back. Just bear with me a second here.
It has to be before the 1st of December. That's no problem.
Okay.
At the very least, I would need to, well, no, hold on, no, let me count again.
If it's the 18th, it would be
15 days.
It would be the 3rd. Or the 2nd, right?
You're not counting the time that the paper only comes out. I can only post one time a week. Okay, so just give me 2 seconds.
You did this to me last time. I get it. That's a frustrating
Well,
part.
I
No, I
read
get it.
you through it about 2 days.
No,
So I have 30 days to accept an application.
and
So I'm doing double duty. I've gone above and beyond for everyone here for the record, and I'm admitting my mistake.
We need to get that a calendar event at all. 7 days calendar.
So I would need to get it. So it's basically got to be to the paper on next week. I have to give notice to the paper next week.
Next Friday, next Thursday.
By the 1st of December, I need all materials. Because the minute it goes out in the paper on Friday or Saturday, somebody calls, like Tyler here, and wants to see materials, they need to be here.
Absolutely.
So you're really not losing much time anyway.
Well, if I go by the next meeting of December 4th, I do.
Well, we have a hearing on December 4th, so very complicated hearing, but it would be up to the DRB whether tonight was very straightforward for the other application. This one is not so straightforward. It's a 9 unit.
Oh, the other one. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
The other one,
I know it's not good.
Which is on. That's all I'm saying. All right, so I'm gonna put up my calendar here.
So,
what we're gonna do.
can I ask a question of the board? So that I understand, and you're asking me to do these things and forward these things in the attempts to
I'm trying to work with you to get you.
I thank you.
But
Trying to say that in the right amount of terms.
Nobody's got a warm and fuzzy about this yet, and we're trying to work with you to get what you want to do.
Absolutely. Yep. I have no issues.
There's 7 other people on the table that, 6 other people on the table that have to be convinced, but we're trying to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate your time and all the effort that folks have already put into it. And I just want to, say, I just want to make sure that I'm not doing something in vain that, people are going to come back and say, oh, that was a great job. I still don't like it.
Well, do you want to straw poll it? No?
I think that'd be fair.
It's just to be fair to you, you want to straw poll, how do you guys feel about the application, the ultimate application? If you can satisfy the criteria on road design, slopes, and impacts of that, how do you feel about it? And,
He's looking right at me.
I was trying to look at the wall.
It's
tough, he wasn't there.
Personal feelings are it's horrendous.
Yeah.
We've already kicked back.
Yeah.
Similar applications. We made Michael Moore go back to the drawing board on this.
We did.
But if it meets the requirements, I wouldn't stand in the way. The worst I'd do is abstain.
Okay.
Well, do you want to look at the requirements? I mean, because it's more than just stormwater erosion, isn't some of it, isn't there more to it? Like,
I spent pretty much all afternoon looking at the requirements, so the site plan review has 7-ish criteria that we have to, of course, I close everything up.
I have it here. So it's like existing site features, right, which include areas of steep slope, existing topography, predominant hillsides, ridges, as viewed at a public vantage point, right? So you drive by Pleasant Valley, it's on the left, it's visible. You have site layout and design compatible with the town plan. And then it goes on, breaks down into the Mount Mansfield Scenic Preservation and Soil and Water District, which is what you fall under. Site layout and design, to the extent physically feasible, shall avoid adverse impacts to natural and scenic resources and environmentally sensitive areas as laid out in section B. Then we've got parking, loading, service area, not really germane to what you have here. Site circulation, landscaping and screening, Outdoor lighting, stormwater management and erosion control. So that's a section that you're definitely going to want to make sure you have covered. And that's where it gets into the phases of projects, right? Talks about projects that can be done in phases. The DRB may require the submission of stormwater management and erosion control plans. Plan shall incorporate the best management practices as recommended by the state, and the most recent additions is Vermont Stormwater Management Manual. The DRB may also require, as necessary to ensure conformance with these regulations, project phasing as necessary to minimize the extent of soil disturbance and erosion. Documentation that state stormwater and construction permits have been obtained, which may also serve as documentation of compliance, which Charlie got at before.
But we wouldn't need something saying they've been obtained before we do approval. If they're also saying you have to have approval before.
Right.
Before occupancy.
And then the conditional use review, I don't know if those.
Well, conditional use review is more. I'll have it in front of me.
Yeah, here, I'm gonna say here if you want to see that.
But it's, the conditional use review is the use criteria, right? So, the general standards are capacity of the existing or planned community services or facilities, right? So you're not really going to affect that much. The character of the affected area, traffic on the roadway, bylaws in effect by the town, utilization of renewable energy resources, site plan review standards, and then specific standards that we also get into are conformance with the town plan, zoning district and use standards, performance standards, and then legal documentation. So if you're doing residential units, so it's not a big deal to achieve all of those things. But, some of the things are like traffic, residential traffic's not a significant increase on those. But we, as a board, because we have to issue a conditional use permit, have to find positive or negative and create an adverse condition.
I believe I'm actually creating a positive condition.
We would find that, right? So we would find that it was an improvement over existing curb cut, right? But that's the use review kind of thing. Usually when
And site plan review is
site plan review is wrapped
inside
up
of
inside
inside.
of use review.
Yeah.
Usually when a town doesn't know what to do on an application for development, they say, oh, you need a conditional use permit.
Mhm.
And so it touches a lot of these criteria, including like the technical standards that are outlined in site plan review. So,
I just want to add one quick little thing. So if you reached out to O'Leary Burke and just said, okay, take this current topo and draw polylines where those steep slopes are,
Yeah.
and be able to do that really quickly with a
100%.
model,
Yep.
right? And then you kind of know where you stand right off the bat without spending.
I know where I stand because I walk the thing all the time, so I know where. And that's fine. I have no problem doing it because I know that in that section of 100 feet, I'll clear that 100 feet because it's just the length of the property.
Yeah.
So
I'm just saying, I spent my whole life walking land.
yeah.
And there's nothing like getting the data on the map.
Oh, absolutely. No. I completely understand. And I have no problem adding anything that the board's requesting.
My suggestion is it's just a simple thing that you could do that wouldn't take much time, and you'd really know after they reviewed the steep slope standards where you stand.
Yep.
And I would add, when they do that, if there's sections that need to change in that driveway and go up to the 50 feet and the 12%, don't be afraid to do that. Because
we're resetting the system basically.
Right. And then I guess I'd be interested in the rest of the straw poll. Because I think you should be interested in it before you spend any more money on this of where we all sit.
So the question is, if Michael goes out and does all this additional engineering, spends all this cash, how does the board still feel about the proposed project? Right. And you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but it's, if we can be forthright with them and say, yeah, still hate it, not gonna approve it, or, I could be persuaded if you gave me the information. That's really what we'd like to give him a sense of walking away to. I'll reach out and say, if you meet the criteria, I'd be inclined to approve it, is my opinion.
Thank you.
So nobody else, you don't have to say as much. You don't have to speak,
I'll
but
volunteer. I mean, I think we have a lot of criteria and you've met a lot of them. We haven't had some. We've cleared up more what we want. And if you can make it work, I'd be inclined to approve it. I think I would add that when we talk about phasing, I truly believe you're gonna lose all those trees, so you should be planning on planting some trees.
Oh, absolutely.
And maybe line that out in some of your phasing.
Sure.
Because I don't think any of us want to see it.
No, neither do I.
And neither
I actually, my whole purpose I can't remember who mentioned, somebody asked me if they could go, I think it was the gentleman who was across the street asking if they could go skiing from my property. I said, yeah. I mean, I want that whole thing gladed.
Yeah.
And there's nothing better to withhold material and slope than trees. So,
I get it.
and I mean, I have.
Maples are super sensitive, though. My neighbor, for example, started filling around his maples just like 5-6 inches.
Yeah.
So those trees will all be dead.
If you look at the majority of my maples are almost dead.
Well, but they have sensitive roots.
It's gonna be a lot of replanting,
Yeah,
a total.
and again,
So that's
My-
my opinion, but because especially like now that I see the bank where the whole existing house is gonna go away, that's obviously that's a big slope that's gonna be wide open when you first do it, so it'd be great if there was some trees back there.
oh, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I want trees. Well, I don't want anybody to see what's going. I like privacy. Just like Tyler's parcel. I mean, his trees have grown in. You can't see his house from the road.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. I want to make sure that privacy, everybody's privacy, my privacy, and my neighbor's privacy is. And I don't want to lose trees. I want to gain trees. So.
You're gonna lose some.
Well, I have no problem replacing anything that's that has to be. There's a lot there that are pretty much rotted out already. So, but yes, I completely understand.
so,
We're gonna keep going.
we could,
I just want to say something.
yeah, please.
So, in my mind, this entire part of the land is going to be repurposed. Like even down here, it's going to be messed up. And I think if it's done really well, it can be an okay thing, because I personally think the way the existing house is now, it's falling down. It doesn't look sited right in the driveway that's there, in the shed. So in a way, if that's all kind of cleaned up, and graded and planted, and you're developing nothing here, then I'm okay. It's obviously the driveway.
It's the driveway. I understand. Yep. Absolutely.
I've seen it.
Yep.
Erosion.
And the last thing I want to do is have something unsightly there. That's why I would rather use boulder walls. Boulder walls we can grow vines over, and it increases the capacity of what that wall is actually carrying for water. So I was thinking.
It's a big project.
It is. Again, I think I mentioned it. I think the reason why a developer didn't buy this is because it's not worth somebody's time and effort to do
I'm
it.
just gonna add another thing here, just so you know,
Mhm.
that Bridge 7 on Pleasant Valley is posted, no overweight limits. Just to let you know that.
Is that north or south?
That's north.
North Cambridge.
So where Dean Road comes out onto Pleasant Valley.
Yep.
That's Bridge 7, what we call it.
Yep.
And it's posted no overweight limits.
Yep.
So you can run empty on it, assuming you don't have some super huge thing, but no loaded trucks on it.
There's some big loads coming through town anyway.
Today they were
Who was?
big trucks.
Where were they coming from?
They were north. They were coming,
Pleasant Valley.
yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think they were just coming from
Were they empty?
Corbett
The
Road.
big paving trucks, the big ones.
They had huge,
Yeah,
They're empty. They're
Yes.
heading back to the
They went that way at 3 in the morning.
Anyway, the bridge is posted.
Yeah.
Understand.
It's ready to fall into the brook.
Yep.
So
Hmm.
you don't want to go there. But anyway, I'm just saying if your material's coming, be mindful of where your material's coming from.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not mindful of it.
Yeah.
I'm more of again, it's money isn't the sole problem here. It's the access
Well, I'm just saying,
My-
we're talking a ton of fill here, right? A lot of fill.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's the money part isn't the problem for us.
Okay.
It just doesn't, it's long-term for us. It's a long-term investment that we have the money for right now. We sold another property we had in Massachusetts. All that cash is allotted to do this. Or not this.
I'm also, we also worry a little bit about our roads and the impact on our roads. That's a separate matter, but anyway, so.
One boulder at a time.
One boulder. Okay.
I want to wrap this up.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate all your time and effort. Yeah.
So what I think we have to do is continue the existing site plan review hearing to December 18th. With the idea that we're going to warn the conditional use for the same night, unless you tell us differently. We have to make the hearing date an open session, so.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think everything should circle around the 18th because it has to be done anyway. So what's the,
So we reconvene with this matter at 6:35 p.m. on Monday, December 18th at the Underhill Town.
With an additional
conditional
conditional
use.
use review, which will be rewarned. Or newly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we don't really do there's no letter you're gonna get from us tonight or anything. If you have any questions, call Brad.
I'll send you all the.
I like how he throws you right under that bus, huh?
And please let your consultant reach out, and have them call me, Well, yeah, I know everybody. But
They're welcome to come to the meeting too. Sometimes that really helps to, they're able to answer questions that, we may have, so,
Well, Larry's been here before.
yeah.
Trump, yeah.
Paul's retired.
He did go for it.
Florida? Oh,
No, I said he did go for it. I don't know.
go for it. Oh, yeah. He's not trying to-
So, board, we're not done yet. We have.
Oh,
No.
Are you done with me?
Yeah, we're done with you.
Okay.
We'll be in touch. Give me a call tomorrow and let's.
Tyler, thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Folks, again, I appreciate all your time. I've done this before several times, and I know what it's like to be on a board that you just throw in your time and effort in, and, I appreciate all of it. I look forward to working with you guys in the future. And enjoying the bird down the road.
The DRB.
Oh, yeah. I actually asked for first time I met Brad, I asked him about the zoning admin job. And then,
All right.
And then I really read the description. I said, oh, yeah, I'm not retiring. Again, thank you all.
Yeah.
For the rest of your day. Have a happy Thanksgiving all.
Yeah, you too, Mike.
You want to approve the minutes? I don't think I sent them out, did I?
You did not send them. They look good.
Don't,
No, you
didn't
Susan and John typed them up.
I don't think you sent them out.
You want to just skip it till next meeting? You guys all right with that?
Well, we're gonna be here in 2 weeks anyway, so
Yeah.
we could do that. Then it's the upcoming schedule and job captains. So we have a sketch plan review for the
Harvest
Crossing, which is a multifamily, is it a PRD?
Yes.
Multifamily PRD, kind of land that's back behind the fire station. The access would be off of Route 15.
Would be off of Route 15?
It would be off of Route 15, so it would be separate from the Harvest Crossing access.
Ooh.
And it's a sketch plan,
Is
right?
that gonna go through to Mint?
No connection.
No.
No connection, right? So the sketch plan is up on the town website, right?
I've
And
sent
that's
you all
in the
links to
How many units is it?
ordinance.
9?
No.
9 units?
9?
Okay.
Well, 9 lots,
That's 6 units, right?
8 units, 1 duplex and some other units. The 9th lot is kind of a boundary line adjustment. The church will
Common lot,
retain
or-
that. It will retain that with the existing church. lot.
Okay.
For the harvest market.
That,
Yeah, I think Penny's gonna take my spot, I thought she said.
Yeah.
Okay.
right.
Okay,
she's-
site,
I'm not in town on December 4th.
And we're doing the
Yeah.
site visit on the 2nd of December at 8:30.
oh, it's not, what are we doing next weekend?
Not
I
doing
think it's
anything.
next weekend.
Thank
Oh,
you. Thanksgiving.
wait,
Oh, that's the second
oh, all right.
2 weeks.
Oh,
weekend after this.
at 8:30, right?
Yeah.
I've got
You
it.
game or,
Yeah, I think I'm around.
yeah?
I'm
Okay.
around.
Because Penny's can cover for Brian. If you want to cover for Jamie, that'd be fine.
What, did Penny say she could do that?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
apparently she had to check to see if she donated and she was all good, so.
You want to move to
Sure
adjourn?
she misses us.
I would move to adjourn unless, the only other thing we had was job captains for,
Oh,
right? And so I wrote the list down, right? It was Charlie, Karen, Matt, Dan, Mark, G, Shane, and Brian. Who did the last one?
I did,
So it's up to me and.
yeah,
All right. So I'm job captain on,
Steve's.
not Steve's.
Oh,
A
Butler.
Butler? Oh, no,
lucky
does that
dog.
mean I'm doing Steve? Oh, no. Oh, no.
Made for
I
you.
could switch, want to switch?
If you want to switch, I'll switch.
You don't want it?
If you want to switch, I'll switch.
Sure, all right,
So Karen's job captain on.
okay.
I was right
on
about
Butler.
Butler.
Okay,
No, I've walked the Butler
so it's 8,
on multiple
30.
occasions.
on the,
8:30 on the nose. So motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right.
I
All those in
third.
favor of adjourn?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.